Hello everyone, and welcome to our Week 4 team builder for the second season of the CGC Draft League. So our Week 4 opponent is going to be Cotn, who is the coach of the Sydney Sylveons, returning coach of Season 1. However, we didn't actually face Cotn in the first season, with how the matches were scheduled. It was one of the few coaches that we didn't end up facing. But there's no more. We are both in the Naranjo division for this time round, which means we have got one hell of a set to play, because Cotton's team terrifies me. Like, Cotn is such a talented battler, and his team is honestly so smartly crafted. It's just so bulky, which really fits Cotton's playstyle, and I think I've probably had the most trouble kind of just figuring out a team and strategy than any other week so far. Like, I remember when I first sat down to team build for this week, I kind of just sat there for a solid hour, not really knowing where to even begin, how to break it. Like, there's just so many good toolkits that Cotn has access to that kind of makes team building against it very oppressive, I feel. But I have figured out something out, of course, and I'll be going over that in this video, of course. So yeah, very excited to share the ideas I've got going on here, because I've probably put the most work into this team so far. So yeah, let's go right into Cotton's draft itself. So his first pick was actually Screamtail in the B tier. Now, I think we all as coaches kind of underestimated Screamtail as a mon, because I think in hindsight it probably should have been an A tier, and Cotn was very smart to pick it up in round 1 as a B, because this thing is just, it's so tough to break. Like, it's not really just, the typing itself is actually kind of uniquely good. Like, it hasn't got a ton of resistances, but Psychic Fairy isn't bad by any means, and it's just got so much bulk and so much speed, which makes it kind of really difficult to play around. It's mainly the Encore and Disable it gets access to. Like, I think it's those two that's kind of gave me the most trouble when building the team, because knowing that a Screamtail could just Encore or Disable lock you, like, at any point if it's on the field, that is such a difficult thing to have to play around. And it's not just a case of like, oh man, I can just outspeed it, because this thing has got base of 111 speed, and it can run the booster energy, or to just activate its photosynthesis, of course, which means it can outspeed everything we have on our team as well. So yeah, it's really difficult to play around. Of course, we do have a few nice things like Goldungo, in that, you know, we've got the good as gold to be completely immune to that stuff, and I'm very thankful we've got Goldungo for that. But yeah, outside of that, pretty much every other mon is definitely vulnerable to the Encore Disable lock, so yeah, gotta be very careful for that when it's brought, because I'm 100% confident that it will be brought against us. Whether it'll be that exact set, who knows for sure, but yeah, there's no way Cotn doesn't bring this against us. We've got King Gambit next, which, I mean, like, we just faced Hey Boy Blue, who had a Bishop, and that's probably the scariest mon on his team to me, and then we've got to face the dad. Like, come on now, this is not fair. Who scheduled these matches, man? We've got Dark Steel typing, which is just really so strong into our team. Like, it's not really a type, like, there's not really many dual types in the game that resist both Dark and Steel, and we definitely do not have access to that. So yeah, it's just got so much attack, so much bulk. It's just really difficult to break overall. Defiant is a very good ability for it, but we don't have any Intimidators, so there's a good chance that Cotn could even run Supreme Overlord, the edgiest ability ever made. So, you know, if we do get a couple KOs and the King Ab is in the back, just powering itself up with that ability can possibly throw some calcs a little out of line for us, so that could be a very dangerous thing to have to deal with as well. So yeah, tough one to have to worry about this week. We've got Garganackle next. I believe it's one of the later picks in the draft, but my goodness, what a nasty mod to just suddenly swing on everyone, you know? Like, oh man, we've got to deal with Garganackle, which, I mean, maybe is a bit rich coming from me, considering I have Knackle Stack, you know. This is just like the parental week, huh? We've got like the King Ambit after the Bishop, they've got the Garganackle, and we've got the Knackle Stack. It's just, yeah, a lot of mons that evolve into each other all over the place here. But yeah, the Purifying Salt ability is very, very strong. With the fact we can't really give it any status, whether that be like a Will-O-Wisp or a Toxic or anything, it means it's very hard to break down, as well as the fact it naturally resisting Ghost, which is a very cool ability, but it means that mons like Annihilate and Goldungo that we have might have a bit of trouble breaking it if it goes into a good terror against one of its types, and then the Ghost isn't doing much either, you know? So yeah, it's a tough one. The Salt Cure really it puts on a lot of pressure if you're just racking up damage bit by bit, especially if we can't break the mons very quickly. So I think that's what's most important this week. We need to have enough firepower on our team just to be able to break Cotton's threats before he can stall us out. So yeah, that is the main thing we've got to worry about overall. We've got Rotom Wash next. Solid Mon all around. Like, it's always been a solid Mon in VGC. Electric Water with the Levitate, you know, giving it only a grass weakness overall. And yeah, it's got a great toolkit. There's not, like, a bunch of crazy things it does, but, you know, like, it doesn't need to. Like, having just Dual Stab, maybe Nasty Plot, Will-O-Wisp, possibly Screens, you could run Volt Switch, Discharge maybe. Like, it's just a solid one overall. Of course, Terra Blast is a totally viable strat for it as well. I don't really know what Terra Rotom would run, if at all, against us this week, but yeah, it's a mob we've got to be very careful of, so yeah, it kind of is good into Golden Go as well with the Make It Rains and such, so yeah, something I'm also very worried about. I guess we'll talk about these two together, because Grafia and Slacking are very much an iconic duo for Gen 9. Grafia's got a great speed stat of 110, and of course when I say iconic with the duo, it of course gets access to the new move Doodle, which allows it to copy abilities that you have, and then allow it to how do I say this? Like you'll copy the opponent's ability, and then both yourself and your ally will have that ability. So yeah, it's definitely something that you have to think about when team building your team. Of course, you're making sure that the abilities that you're running may not give this duo a crazy advantage if you get copied all of a sudden. So yeah, and outside of that, I mean, Grafia's got access to Prankster, Parting Shot, which is great. You've got Taunt, you've got Super Fang. Poison, you know, is decent offensive typing into a couple of mons as well. Like, just got to be very careful that, you know, it doesn't just unleash a big gunk shot and do major damage into stuff as well. So yeah, it's a tough one for sure. And then Slacking, it's just, I mean, there's not really much to say about Slacking other than it's just like a solid attacker, and of course Truant as an ability makes it very difficult and possibly like unviable in VGC unless you can get rid of that ability, but Doodle on Grafia makes that a lot easier to do. So yes, I've got to be very careful of course. We have a lot of mons on our team that are kind of more especially bulky over physically bulky, so yeah, Slacking's a scary one. You know, if we don't prep for it well enough, then it can probably just run through an entire team if it copies a good ability, so got to be very wary of that. We got Vaporeon as well. Vaporeon was a mon that I certainly had my eyes peeled on for the C tier, but Cotn got there too soon. It went very quickly, to be honest, from the C tier, so yeah, no surprise. I mean, it's just got so much bulk, and I think the reason that we kind of chose it to be C tier in the end was because it lost Gold, which is definitely a really valuable toolkit for Vaporeon, but it still has Muddy Water, so it's a decent, albeit less reliable stab. And outside of that, it's kind of just got a few interesting kits like Haze, but it can also Calm Mind as well, which with Water Ice coverage can be really tough to deal with as well. So yeah, if we bring a bunch of special attackers and don't have a good check to Vaporeon, then I can see this thing being a problem as well. I'll go over Donphan next, because this is kind of the sleeper pick that I'm worried about with Cotn, because we do have quite a few ground weaknesses. And why I'm not 100% on if Cotn will bring it or not, if it does come, we've definitely got to be worried about it. You know, like, it's got very high attack, so being able to just click Earthquake or High Horsepower, because it actually gets access to the single target move, which is nice. Being able to just threaten that into our entire team is very scary. We've got to make sure that we're not dealing with a Trick Room situation with Donphan if that's what happens, because that's really scary as well. It also gets Ice Shard, which is kind of cute for our Noivern as well. I've checked calcs, and we shouldn't be getting one-shot by an Ice Shard unless it's like a Choice Band or a Terror Ice Donphan, which isn't completely out of the question, but yeah, that'd be a crazy tech by Cotn for sure. So yeah, got to be very wary of Donphan this week. Then we've got Quillfish and Flapple as the last two mons in the D tier. Mons I'm not too worried about and don't expect to see, but you know, they're very interesting mons in their own right. Quillfish is, of course, got Intimidate, so that can be useful in certain situations. And while it doesn't really have much bulk to back it up, Water Poison is a very good defensive typing, so you know, it gets a few interesting things. Also a Haze user. I think it gets Fell Stinger, which is kind of cute if you're like trying to get a sudden KO. You can do Destiny Bond, it's a poison type, you can do annoying poison-related things, you know. That's the main gist I'd see from Quillfish. I guess it can do Swift Swim as well, but without a Rain Setter and ability like Pelipper, I don't see that happening. Having said that, I guess I assume Grafia gets Rain Dance. I can check this actually. Does it get Rain Dance? There you go. So maybe that's the strat. Prankster Rain Dance with the Quillfish. That could be a problem. But yeah, I don't really expect it. And then we've got Flapple last, which is kind of an awkward mon. You know, like I love Flapple's design and such. It's honestly really cool, but it's just kind of lackluster in the stats overall. Like, it's kind of got decent offenses, but the bulk and speed kind of leave a lot to be desired. And the fact that if you're really trying to make the most of its attack, you're kind of forced to run Hustle, and that being, you know, forcing inaccuracy and such. It's just kind of an awkward mon to use overall, so yeah, but that's enough of Cotton's team. Let's get into our team and the general strategy we're going for this week. So with that Scream Tower being such a big problem, I had no doubt in my mind that Golden Go was a crucial part to this week. Just being immune to any Encore Disable shenanigans or any status as a whole is great for Golden Go with that good as gold ability. Very good into Cotton overall. We're running the Covert Cloak because of the Garganackle. I do not want to have to take any soul kill damage, so that should be really nice to kind of just wall it, really. It means that we, like, against Garganackle, we can pretty much just set up in its face and then hopefully overwhelm it with damage without it being able to do its soul kill nonsense, which is nice. The set itself, we've got Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Terra Blast, and Nasty Plot. And the Terra Fighting for the Terra Blast, of course, is going to be for King Ambit, because Golden Go is such a crucial part of this week, but the King Ambit does stop it hard, especially like if it's a Soul Vest. You know, you can't really break that if you don't have a good, super effective move to deal with it, so Terra Blast felt very crucial this week, as did the Dual Stabs and Nasty Plot, so I'm not a huge fan of not having Protect, but I feel like it was a necessary decision this week overall, because just being able to set up and then threaten all the damage with the Ghost Fighting and Steel moves and such is very, very strong, I feel. Because, of course, Terra Blast relying on that Terra Fighting, there is a good chance that we'll be going for the Terra on Golden Go if we do bring it and such. So, you know, it's one of those mons that I don't want to, like, be too reliant on, but, like, if I see a King Ambit and I haven't used my Terra, like, I'm not going to think twice, you know? Once I've revealed it once, maybe Cotton will be more wary of, like, letting King Ambit be in front of Golden Go, but, you know, until then, we might be able to get a surprise KO into King Ambit if it's not expecting a sudden fighting move like that. We could have run Focus Blast, of course, but I just didn't like how unreliable it was. Terra Blast just feels like it's going to secure us the KO so much more. And what's nice about the Terra Fighting as well is it actually resists Dark, so if a Sucker Punch is coming our way, then that's really nice to at least resist that hit as well. So, the stats, we don't need too much speed again this week. It's one of those weird things where, like, it's because of it being a very crowded speed tier, I don't want to invest too much in speed and then still get jumped by stuff. I'd much rather just focus on the bulk and the offense and such, and then just use Tailwind from our Noivern. You know, no surprise to there, even though I guess it's a slight spoiler on the set on Noivern. You know, we just can get the Tailwind up, and that'll be our way of kind of outspeeding stuff with Golden Go, rather than rely on its own natural speed tier. So, yeah, that's Golden Go. We've got Annihilate next. You know, it's a standard set, what we ran last week. Dream Punch, Rage Fist, Bulk Up, and Protect with the lefties. It's just so good into Cotton, you know. I did consider a weakness policy this week, with some maybe cheeky stuff with Jolteon, but I decided against it in the end, just because the leftovers really allow us to survive for a long period of time on the field, which if we do ever get Salt Cured, you know, making sure we can at least heal half of that damage per turn is really important. And Annihilate is honestly really good into Cotton, providing I don't get trapped by like an Encore Disable situation with the Scream Tail. So as long as I can get set up nicely, Annihilate should be able to put in a lot of work this week. I definitely can see Annihilate being one of our kind of integral strategies on how we deal with Cotton's team. So yeah, there's not much else to say really. Terra Grass seems decent, just so that we're not taking too much damage from the Rotom if it tries to hit us with like any of its dual stabs. So that was the main reason for that. I feel like that could be the biggest threat to Annihilate, if anything, really, because, you know, if it gets up with Nasty Plot, I don't want it to just suddenly blow me back with a Hydro Pump and such, so yeah, that's the main idea, really. We've got Noivern next. We've got Draco Meteor, Super Fang, Taunt, and Tailwind, holding the Mental Herb. We've got Frisk, of course. Frisk is just such a good ability to figure out what the items are on Cotton's team. It can be very useful in maybe trying to figure out if Slacking's got like a boosting item like Life Orb or something, see if the King Ambit's Assault Vest or not. You know, stuff like that is very useful to know. I do highly expect an Assault Vest on King Ambit this week, just because we have so many good special attackers, but you never know, we'll have to see. But yeah, the it hasn't got too much offense, Noivern, this week. It's very much kind of a more supportive role. With a Terra Dark, it's mainly just so we can get a surprise Dark Terror in front of Grafia if we need to, and stop it from clicking Doodle into us. So say we've got Golden Go and Noivern together, then we can block a Doodle and stop Slacking from thriving with that, of course. So that could be nice. Mental Herb is also really good against Poison, Taunt, and Encore Disable stuff, once again with a Screamtail. Like, Mental Herb allows us to at least shake off the effects of that at least once, which means it can be very good to make sure that we can get our Tailwind and Taunts off and such, because Taunt could be a very pivotal move on Noivern this week, I feel. Just being able to taunt and shut down things like Garganackle and Screamtail from doing anything other than attacks is going to be a very powerful tool, I think, this week. Super Fang is great for just chipping stuff down quickly, so if we can just Super Fang plus big attack into something, we might be able to take out some big threats quickly. And the Draco Meteor just felt like the best all-around stabber overall. I don't like that it can't really hit Kingambit and literally do 0 to Screamtail, but it's not like I'm here to do damage with Noivern, it's here to support the other members that are going to be doing the main forms of damage. So yeah, that's the plan with that. I'm actually going to Venomoth next, because I'll be honest, these four I'm about to go over here, like, these are the kind of main mons that I'd say are going to be like the focus of the strategy. I don't really see myself bringing Jolty on a Scum Tank unless I see the situation, you know, calls of them, because these four are the main strategy. Let's go over Venomoth here, because Venomoth, I don't know if this kind of set is on people's radar, but yeah, this might be a nasty reminder to everyone that I do have a Sleep Powder bot and a Redirection bot, and Venomoth this week is going to be absolutely crucial to letting Golden Go and Annihilate thrive, because I can see our leads into this game being kind of Golden Go with Venomoth or Annihilate Venomoth, because what Venomoth does for us, it allows us to put on pressure with Sleep Powder, and which could give us opportunities to set up, as well as just redirect any attacks that we do not want to have to deal with on Golden Go and Annihilate. Just being able to redirect any Encores or Disables as well for a turn is really nice with that Rage Powder, and the Shield Dust is really cool this week, because, you know, just like Covert Cloak, like, it will block Assault Cure chip damage. So if we want to redirect the Assault Cure, if say we've got Annihilate or something else in the field, we can just stop that Assault Cure from doing chip damage per turn. Now, of course, it's going to still do a decent chunk of damage into Venomoth, but overall, I just felt like it was worth having the Shield Dust for that, really. There wasn't really much I wanted for Tinted Lens. As you can see, Venomoth once again a very supportive role this week. The only attacks is Acid Spray, which can be excellent if paired with Golden Go to do some massive damage all of a sudden. We also got Disable as well. Disables could be a really fun move if, like, say, the Garganackle goes for, like, I don't know, Wide Guard or Protect or something like that, and we could just disable it and possibly pin it into a situation that someone would be in and such. Disable has just many good uses, you know, if it stops Cotn from being able to spam the same moves and such against us. So say we're in front of King Ambit or something, it tries to Cowtail Cleave into Golden Goal or something. Maybe we Terra Fighting and we disable it on the same turn. You know, either or. It's just a very useful move, I feel like, overall. I could have went with Protect, but I don't know, Disable's kind of cute. I think it could have some potential uses, so yeah, that's the idea behind that. And then Sleep Powder, of course, it's one of those moves where, like, you can kind of compare it to Hypnosis to Gothitelle in that it's one of those moves that you don't, like, need. You're not running it to get the sleep, you know, every time consistently. It's just like, if you haven't got anything better to do, just click the Sleep Powder button, because it forces Cotn to answer it. And if I can just put Cotton's mons to sleep, then I might be able to overwhelm these strategies very quickly. Now, of course, I've got to watch out for any potential safety goggles, which I'm not sure if Cotn will bring it. Once again, we haven't actually brought a Venomoth like this yet, so I'm not sure if this kind of set is going to be on his radar or not. But we'll have to see for sure, and the Frisk or Noivern might be able to help us identify any safety goggles and such here and there. Of course, we've got to also worry about the Purifying Soul of Garganackle, because we won't be able to put that to sleep. That's okay, we can just redirect Salt Cure or something, which is nice, and go from there, really. The bulk, Cotn's team is kind of physically offensive for the most part. Like, you've got things like the Rotom, the Vaporeon, but outside of that, you've got things like King Ambit and Slacking being the main physical threats. So I'd definitely put more value on the physical bulk this week. I could have went fully physically bulky with, like, a Bold Nature, but I was looking at calcs and such, and I realised that maybe big attacks like King Ambit's Cowtail Cleave, there's no guarantee it will do, like, half of my health if I go bold and max defense. And the Citrus Berry I actually think is a very crucial part of its bulk this week. So like I want attacks like that to be doing kind of at least 50%, because then it'll be in a hopeful range where I can eat my citrus and then she'll be able to take another, rather than get maybe an unlucky roll, say it does like, I don't know, 48% and then like 52% the next turn, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, this kind of should allow us to have her take attacks more reliably, because I'd like Venomoth to be able to survive double ups and things if possible, you know, because the longer the Venomoth is on the field, the better, really. So yeah, we've got the Terra Dark again, kind of for similar reasons with the Noivern. Like, it's not really a Terra I expect to use, but if the situation arises, I might be able to stop a Taunt or Doodle or something from the Grafii, so that could be really nice. I did go back and forth on whether I should run the Mental Herb on the Venomoth or the Citrus and Noivern. You know, kind of went back and forth, like switching those items up on each other, but I decided that the Mental Herb on Noivern was just way more important, because if I ever get in a situation with Grafias on the field and I don't want to Terra, I need to get the Tailwind up. I don't want anything to stop it, so just having the Mental Herb to secure that is way more important than Venomoth being able to like get off another Sleep Powder or Rage Powder, I feel. So, and like I've said, with the bulk it's running, the Citrus does seem like it should be super useful. So that's the main idea behind that. We'll go over Jolteon next. So yeah, the last two ones were kind of really tough to decide on, because I kind of feel like like I've said, the first four are really going to be the integral part of the strategy this week, but Jolteon is a good option if we're just looking for some crazy good electric damage. We've got Thunderbolt, Electro Ball, Substitute, and Detect. Electro Ball's kind of spicy, so the Kingambit and Garganacl take major damage from Electro Ball, assuming they're not running much speed, because obviously Jolteon's super fast, and the faster you are, the stronger Electro Ball gets, basically. So I think Electro Ball against both Garganacl and Kingambit reaches base 150 power if we have a Tailwind up. I think it's at least 120 on Garganacl without it as well, so like it's a solid option into the slower mons. And then we just got Thunderbolt as a, you know, just a all-around stab. We've also got Substitute and Detect. The main reason for Substitute is mainly because I'm worried about Kingambit maybe trying to KO us with a Sucker Punch, so providing we're not too low on HP, it allows us to maybe get off a cheeky sub into the Kingambit and then be able to attack again, rather than just get locked into a situation where we can't win against Sucker Punch. So that's the idea behind that. We haven't got much bulk on Jolteon, and it's pretty frail overall, but I just decided that the way we're running Jolteon this week, there's no point in really having any bulk, really, or not much anyway. Might as well just go focus on the offense as much as possible. And we've got the Magnet to boost up our Electric Tax and our Electric Terror if we choose to do that. Again, we're kind of just looking to boost the damage with Jolteon. What's nice about Jolteon this week is it doesn't really have, like, there's not really any resist that Cotn has on the team. The only thing is Domfan. So, you know, the kind of idea behind Jolteon is that it's if we're just looking for some good damage, we can bring it, but I'll be honest, if there is a Domfan on Cotton's team, then I don't expect to bring Jolteon at all, so we'll have to see. It's most likely going to be on the bench, and 100% if the Domfan is on the field, but you know, if it isn't there, then it's definitely an option we can consider. Another kind of cool tech you may notice is the Quick Feet. The reason for Quick Feet is, once again, I do not want to get trapped into a situation where Cotn doodles my Volt Absorb, and then suddenly my only electric type attack, Jolteon, can't touch the Slacking or Grafia, you know. So that's kind of what I was on about with the whole, you have to really think smartly with the whole doodle situations and such. And by running Quick Feet, we might actually be able to prank Cotn, per se, by still be able to hit hard with a big electric attacks. So yeah, I could have ran Volt Absorb still if I was more worried about taking attacks from Rotom, but like, it's probably just going to kick the Hydro Pump into me anyway. I just didn't think the value of Volt Absorb was there, when the doodle situation is definitely a problem if Jolteon's on the field and we're dealing with that. So yeah, that's Jolteon for us. And then we've got Skuntank on as the last one. Now, I went back and forth on Gardevoir and Skuntank so many times, and the reason I kind of went with Skuntank over Gardevoir in the end is, one, because I really didn't know how to run Gardevoir this week, because it's got so many good moves and it's so versatile to the point I just didn't know how to run it against Cotn, because it kind of wants about, I'd say, 12 different moves for different situations, which makes it difficult to kind of know what the set should be. But I decided that, especially for as this last one isn't something I expect to bring, it should be something that should deter the things I'm most worried about. And Scream Tail is definitely one of the biggest threats to our team, which is why I felt like Skuntank was kind of the best decision overall. It does add up another ground weakness, which is scary if the Domfan does come, but I don't really see, like, Gardevoir was, I didn't really want to use Gardevoir to deal with Donphan anyway, per se, so I thought that having another ground weakness in Skuntank isn't really affecting that matchup per se. I'll probably be focusing more on the Annihilate bulking up, or maybe a Terra Goldengo to beat that if that's what happens. But the set itself is kind of nice. We've got Gunk Shot, Foul Play, Sucker Punch, and Taunt. Foul Play is the big one. Foul Play into Slacking, if it's like a max attack, max speed, jolly kind of set, not much bulk, it should be able to two-shot it with the black classes. A really nice calc indeed, and if it is any Terra, I can see Ghost being quite likely into us, just because Ghost is good offensively into things like Golden Go and Annihilate and such, so yeah, being able to basically one-shot with Foul Play, or two-shot, if it's just a neutral, here is really nice. We've got a lot of physical bulk because of that, and because Foul Play is kind of going to be our main form of damage with it, it allows us to bulk it up as well. So yeah, once again, Skuntank just being such a really nice wall in our team. Even though its defensives are a bit lacking, that HP allows you to run it quite defensively if you just kind of bulk up the defenses a bit. So yeah, it's Skuntank I'm really proud of so far this season. Like, it's one of those mons I didn't really think anything of before draft, but be able to use it and have it pop off in draft was kind of made me fall in love with it a bit more, so that's kind of cool. We've got Sucker Punch as well. It's one of those moves where, like, it kind of seemed... I kind of realised I want some kind of attack there, and it's kind of the best attack to have, just if I'm trying to finish off something like, I don't know, Rotom or Slacking, maybe Grafire if it's down to its Sash or something like that. Especially with the black glasses, it does boost it up a little bit, even if the attack isn't that strong, because we haven't got much offense, of course, but having the Adamant 4 attack allows us to make sure we can two-shot things like the Scream Tail with Gunk Shot, stuff like that, so... yeah, I still put value on the Adamant nature just to make sure we can guarantee two shots and such, or at least for the most part. Unless it's running like, max HP, max defense, bold, maybe it won't get two shot then, but that's a lot of an investment, and if it's something like that, I'd like to see it, because that means Golden Go should be able to do more damage with the Make It Rain or Shadow Ball and such. So yeah, and then Taunt is just, again, we've got Double Taunt this week. There are just so many good uses of Taunt this week against Cotton's team. Say we're up against a Scream Tower or something, say you like scouts us out by clicking Protect as we drag Gunk Shot into it, I'd probably like click Taunt into it the next turn, because then if it encores us into Gunk Shot, great. Big poison move into Scream Tail, right? Or if it goes for Disable, then we get to Taunt it and then just shut down any other nonsense it's trying to do for a bit. So yeah, again, it's one of those mons where like Protect would be nice, but I just feel like I value the other 4 moves too much, so... yeah, we've got the Terra Grass as well, mainly because of Donphan, because say we want to bring Skuntank, even though there is a Donphan there, we can Terra our Skuntank into Grass to, of course, resist the ground type moves, and then Foul Play is still going to do very good damage into it. I'm not sure if it's the 2-shot, I don't think so, but 2 Foul Plays and a Sucker Punch can do it and such, so yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything I want to go over. I guess I could go a bit more over the bulk of Golden Go, as I kind of missed that. So I said I'm kind of just focusing on the bulk and offense over the speed and such. But, I believe the bulks should survive a high source power from Adamant Max Attack Donphan, if need be. Should be able to survive a Kowtow Cleave as well. Say we can't Terra. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough week for sure. But I'm very excited to see what Cotn brings for sure, because like I said, I think at least 8 of his 10 mons this week are super viable, and maybe can surprise me with the Quillfish or Flapple as well, you never know. So, yeah, I do hope you'll join me for the battle, and yeah, I really hope it goes well, because I've put a lot of thought and effort into this team. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the battle against Cotn. Take care, everyone.